Hi guys, welcome to the channel, Practical Reefer. My name's Mark. Now today I'm going to be talking about the All-for-Reef powder. Now as I was researching getting back into reefing last year during lockdown and before I even started up the tank, I was quite aware of the All-for-Reef liquid solution, which is kind of an all-in-one, as they call it, All-for-Reef. Which basically, if you're not aware, All-for-Reef contains, let me focus that in a bit better, calcium, magnesium and KH, which is your alkalinity, and various other trace elements. So it's kind of an all-in-one dosing solution. Obviously if you maybe get into SPS or high usage tanks, then you might want to start dosing individual components, but this will do the vast majority of tanks, or it can do. It's maybe not the cheapest option when you come into very large size tanks. This is maybe where it starts to fall down, but it's very, very convenient and it's not expensive for a reasonable sized reef tank. So the difference with this is you basically just need to mix the powder in RO water to make your own liquid, and then away you go and dose it as normal. So what I'm going to be doing with my 20-gallon budget reef is using the auto top off that I've got at the back there, which is the Evian bottle with basically it's a gravity fed ATO which holds 1.5 litres of water, and on my tank it lasts for 4 days. So what I will be doing is dosing 4 days worth of All-for-Reef into the bottle. Now I do need to be careful in the height of summer or the depths of winter. If the ATO lasts 3 days or 5 days instead of 4, then I need to watch my dosing. Now if it creeps one day either way or the other, if the ATO lasts 5 days instead of 4, my dosage will be at 80%. If it lasts 3 days instead of 5, you're going to be at 133% of the dosage. So it's not going to wild swing, and it's going to do it over a few days. So I think 1 day's dosage of All-for-Reef being either 20% less or 33% more isn't going to cause me any massive issues. And it is pretty consistent. It lasts about 4 days because I've got the twin wall lid on my tank, which keeps the evaporation down to a minimum. So as I'm saying, I only lose about, what we're talking there, 250, 375 mil a day roughly. So it's not a lot of evaporation. So if it swings one way or the other, it's not going to make a huge change. But I will keep an eye on it, and if if it stretches one day worth either way, then we'll need to adjust the dosage. Now, what I will say is my alkalinity at the moment is running between sort of 5 and 6. Tested it a few weeks ago, it was about 5.1, and then I did do quite a chunky water change because I just collected fresh natural seawater, and quite often when I do that I'll fill the bucket that I actually collect the natural seawater in, and then when I do my next water change I do a sort of a double size water change just to add in more of microorganisms and free phytoplankton that comes with the natural seawater, and just do a bigger water change just because I can and it's free. When I did that, my alkalinity was sitting about, I think it was 6.3. So I'm sitting in between 5 and 6. And obviously, if I was to measure it every couple of days, then I would probably see that it does have a slight ramp down after every water change. It'll spike just slightly, maybe 1 dkh, and then it'll drop down over the week and go back down. So the plan with this is to buffer my alkalinity as well and get that up to about 9 or so. Which is going to be the plan. So what I'll do, I'll show you this getting mixed. Now this is an 800 gram tub and it makes 5 litres of All-for-Reef solution. So what they say is you take 3 scoops of it, 6 scoops sorry, and which is 180 grams, 160 grams, yeah, 160 grams, and that makes 1 litre of solution if you mix that into RO water. What I'm going to do is actually half that and take 3 scoops and mix 80 grams into 500 ml of RO water, just because I'm not going to be dosing huge amounts of All-for-Reef and I don't need big massive bottles of it kicking about. So I'm just going to fill up a 500 ml bottle, and that'll do me probably a couple of months at a time, and then it's just easier to store. I've got the tub there which will last me probably over a year, and 500 ml bottle filled with it. So I'll show you it being mixed, and then we'll start dosing it, and we'll come back in a few weeks and we'll see how the alkalinity is increased, and well, that's the plan, how the alkalinity is increased, and check the levels and see how we go. So guys, on mixing the All-for-Reef powder, As I was saying earlier, the instructions say 160 grams per litre of RO water, but I'm not going to be dosing huge amounts of this. So I've, using the jug here, I've weighed on the scales as well, 500 millilitres of RO water. And then what I will be doing is adding 80 grams to that. So I've just half the amounts, just for what I require. Now I've actually taken the scoop out of this. I had to dig it out of the tub when I was looking at it the other day. This is the scoop that comes with it, and it was buried near enough right into the tub, so a little bit of a pain. I'll just zero the kitchen scales here and change them to grams. There we go. So I'm wanting 80 grams of the powder. Now it is a very, very fine powder, and it will try and disappear off. Now this glass was washed out with a bit of RO water as well, just to make sure there was no like dish soap residue or anything like that on it. I'll just pop in there at 74, probably not be much, 76, 79, bang on, and that's 80 grams there. So I don't keep the scoop in the tub, because you have to sink it right back into the tub, and it's, you know, I don't want to be putting my fingers in this as much as I can. I don't want to be touching it really, so I'll just keep that somewhere off to the side. So pop that to the back there. Now I've got my 500 ml of water. Obviously it's 160 grams per litre, and I've got 80 grams here to go into half a litre. So what I'll do, I've actually got my turkey baster, which I will stir with, and I will just pop this in. Could have probably used a teaspoon, but turkey baster got to rinse out as well before using it in RO water. It's going to be a bit lazy, just use the actual turkey baster bit. So that will take a bit there, it takes a little bit to stir it in. And just need to stir that for a little minute. I'll need to leave that out. There we go. Yeah, it takes a good stir, give it a minute or two, and then once you've got that, that's your concentrated All-for-Reef solution. So what I'll be doing with this tank, my RO bottle is 1.5 litres. However, regardless of its volume, it lasts for 4 days. So I will be dosing 4 millimetres per day. So I'll be putting 16 millilitres into my RO reservoir. So that'll last me. Now what, that is the initial dosage, which is recommended at 5 millilitres per 100 litres, and I'm just shy of 80 litres of aquarium volume, so I will be dosing the 4 ml per 80 litres, so just it's a nice ratio to come down. I've got about 80%, so 4 ml per 100 litres per day. Now what I will do, the recommendation is every week, if your alkalinity is not where you want it to be, is to increase the dosage by 2.5 millilitres per 100 litres per week. So after a week of dosing at the initial rate, you can increase it by 2.5 ml. For me, that will be 2 ml, because it'll be 2 ml per 80 litres of aquarium volume, and then we'll go up every week until we've got the dosage, or not the dosage, the alkalinity where we want it to be. So I'm aiming for about 9, and see how we go there. And that is it mixed. So it's a slightly cloudy mixture, but that's you. So that for me there is 500 ml. That'll probably last me quite a while, and the actual tub itself will last months, if not over a year. Even when I get into, you know, a couple of steps above the initial dosage, which I imagine it will be. I imagine it'll be more than 4 ml per day, but we'll see how we go, and that's the solution there. I'll pop this into just a little bottle just to store it, and then I'll start adding that to my RO water and into my reservoir, and that's how I'll be topping it up. But we'll come back in a couple of weeks and we'll see how we get on. Hi guys, welcome back. We're at 3 weeks later, or so I say. I am wearing exactly the same t-shirt. I refilmed the intro earlier today, because when I filmed it originally it was too long, so I've cut that down. So I do have other clothes. I've not been wearing the same t-shirt for 3 weeks, just by chance. So coming back to the All-for-Reef, now I have been dosing it for the 3 weeks, I'll just look at some notes here that I've got as well. So originally my alkalinity was sitting around about 5.5, 6. When I did quite a large water change, which I mentioned at the start of the video, I think I got to about 6.3, because the natural seawater's around about 8 or so. So that did bring it up to just over 6. However, you know, it sits 5.5, 6. So I started dosing on the 5th of July, and what I did is I went with the standard recommendation, which is 5 millilitres of All-for-Reef per day per 100 litres of tank water. So for me, the 5 millilitres per 100 litres becomes 4 millilitres per 80 litres of my tank water. So that's fine there. So that's the standard dose. So I was dosing that for a week. On the 5th, within a few days, I tested it about 4 days later on the 9th. I was at somewhere in between 6.7 and 7.0, because it was the Salifert alkalinity test, which gives you a bit of a range. So I was probably about 6.8, 6.9. And then I tested on the 14th, so actually on the 12th, I then increased the dosage. So I went from 4 millilitres per day to 6 millilitres per day. So basically, from the starting dosage, they ask you to just increase it every week by a half dose, just until you get the alkalinity to where you want it to be. So for me, instead of increasing it by the 2.5 mil, which would be for 100 litres of water, I've increased it by 2 mil per 80 litres. So I was now at 6 millilitres per day on the 12th of July. A few days after I started doing that, I got to 7. And then a week after that, on the 19th, I was at 8.3, 8.4 alkalinity. So the alkalinity was increasing quite steadily. And on the 19th, same day, I increased another half dose. So what would be 10 millilitres per 100 litres of tank water was 8 millilitres per 80 litres of my tank water. So I started the increased the dosage then. On that same day, I think I just said I was at 8.3, 8.4. And then over the course of the next week, which is today, my alkalinity increased from the 8.3, 8.4 to a pretty steady 9.3. So pretty happy where my alkalinity is now. I'm at 9.3. I was aiming for 8 to 10, sort of in the middle, roughly about 9. Seems to be the suggestion of what I've seen online and what people say alkalinity is ideal for sort of soft corals. If anyone's got any other advice on, you know, their zoas and their cloves and their mushrooms did great at 8 DKH, 10 DKH, or 12 or something wild, let me know. Give me some information on that. But 9's where I'm aiming for. If you've got any advice, let me know down below in the comments. So yeah, pretty happy with it. It's a great product. This, I think it was somewhere in mid to £20 or something like that. It wasn't a lot of money. So this will make up 5 litres of the All-for-Reef solution. Now for me, as it stands, I'm dosing 8 millilitres per day. That'll last me 625 days, or just over 20 months. If I increase the dosage to 10 millilitres per day, it would still last me over 16 months. So, you know, it's for 20 odd quid, it'll give me well over a year, approaching 2 years worth of usage. I'll probably start using it on other tanks as well in the near future, so I'll use it a bit quicker than that. But just on a little tank like this, it's pennies. It's not a lot at all. Now what I do need to watch, now I'm topping up via my ATO. That lasts 4 days, pretty consistent. I just need to be careful. You know, we're going through summer at the moment. As we come into cooler weather, does the ATO last 5 days? Or does the ATO last 3 days, and even hotter weather, even though this is about as hot as it will get? I just need to watch, because if my ATO lasts less or more, then it'll be dosing more or less All-for-Reef. Now, what I would say though is if it lasted 5 days instead of 4, it's going to be dosing at about 80% of its normal dosage, so it'll still be dosing All-for-Reef. It's not going to be a huge calamity. And if it was to last 3 days instead of 4, it'd be dosing about 1.333 or 133% of what it would normally be dosing. So again, it's not massive amounts, and it's something I would just need to watch. But I'll see as well. You know, I'm topping up the ATO and I'm keeping an eye on it, and I know if it's using more or less. So that's something I just need to keep an eye on. But I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, so I mean, 20 odd months, best part of 21 months, or about 16 months. So easily get, you know, a year and a half roughly out of it, even if I do increase the dosage. But I will keep an eye on the alkalinity. That'll be the big thing to watch. Is just to test my alkalinity regularly and just make sure that it's round about that 9.3 mark, or, you know, about 9. Because that's the one thing, even at the current dosage, which I've only been doing for a week, if I keep at that dosage, it might just be that it slowly steps up and goes to, you know, 10, 11, 12 over a long period of time. And it might be that I just need to dial back the dosage just slightly just to get it to stay at 9.3. So I'll keep an eye on that. But, you know, over 3 weeks I've gone from just over 6 DKH alkalinity up to 9.3. So I think that's brilliant. It's absolutely done the job I needed to do. And the corals are growing great. I'm not going to go in depth into the coral growth because it's hard to say over a couple of weeks. You know, that's all down to the All-for-Reef. But they do look great. They're all doing well. They're all growing, and they were kind of starting to grow before anyway, so I'm not going to attribute it fully to the All-for-Reef, but I'm sure it's absolutely helping. But thanks again for watching the video, guys. Thanks for all your likes and subscriptions and comments below. Has anyone ever had any issues with All-for-Reef as well? If you can let me know below. Is that something that I've never found any issues online? I've struggled to see any negatives about All-for-Reef, so if you do have any, let me know. And give me a comment below on what you think. But thanks for watching again, guys. Thanks for all the new subscriptions, just about 90 now, and I'll catch you all next time.